And still, this guy is not believing it. Like, it's crazy. I'm telling him that the DOGE people are saying is wrong, and he's like, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's talk about some DOGE news. The whole DOGE theory of government is that it is inefficient, it's rife with fraud. The people who do the work there are lazy government bureaucrats. They don't care about the mission. They don't care about anything. They're low productivity, stuff like that. And there were two really kind of fascinating stories last week of DOGE failures. And I want to start with one about Social Security, where Elon Musk and one of his DOGE bros makes a claim about how common fraud is within the Social Security system. Let's play this clip.
We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%?
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
All the fraud loopholes. And so they went and, it's amazing that they had the gall to say, oh, we found this, as if this is something that they had determined, actually. Well, based on that kind of hypothesis, 40% of calls into Social Security are fraudulent. They installed anti-fraud checks for benefit claims made over the phone early last month. And now the Social Security Administration is already considering walking back that policy because out of 110,000 calls that have been placed since the anti-fraud check was implemented, they found two cases that had a high probability of being fraudulent. Not even two cases that were determined to have been fraudulent, but two cases that had a high probability of being fraudulent. This is reporting coming out of nextgov.com. The title of the article is DOGE Went Looking for Phone Fraud at SSA and Found Almost None. Staff reporter Natalie Ames reported on the news story. But it is just so amazing that this is the kind of stuff that they're finding. And people are still believing this. Like, I saw a comment on Facebook from somebody that I know just last week about how she thinks that Elon Musk is trying to save the country when they're going out and either lying, they either lied about we determined that there are 40% of phone calls are fraudulent, or they are just so blatantly misinformed as to, almost be like a danger to themselves and others, physically, because they don't have the ability to kind of perceive reality and the world around them as it exists, really, right? I mean, that is so far from the mark. 40% was the claim. 2 calls out of 110,000 maybe was what they actually found. But that doesn't come at zero cost, right? Doing this anti-fraud measure, which is one of the things that people actually find frustrating with government, is all of the paperwork and all of the hoops that you have to jump through to get anything from the government and all the requirements and blah, 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 right? That's actually the thing that makes government inefficient. A lot of the things, just like this one, are anti-fraud measures. And so you have to recognize that at some point, at a certain point, efficiency is an enemy of anti-fraud measures, right? And you have to do a cost-benefit analysis. You have to say, is it worth doing this anti-fraud check, Or do we want to make it easier for folks who qualify to get their benefits that they have earned? Because this does not come at zero cost. What actually happened is that this anti-fraud measure slowed retirement claim processing by 25% for everybody, right? This is not just the two people who had potentially fraudulent claims. They're not the only ones that have to deal with this. Everybody had a 25% reduction in the speed with which their retirement claims were processed. It also led to a degradation of public service, according to an internal May document obtained by NextGov that examined potentially cutting the anti-fraud tool for phone claims. And so that's what you get. And also it is worth noting that degradations to service are also benefit cuts. If it takes 25% longer and it takes 2 weeks or something, it takes 2 weeks for me to get my retirement claims started rather than 2 days, or it takes 4 weeks rather than 2 weeks, I have missed out on a check, right? I've missed out on a check. I will never get that check back. There is no procedure by which the government will retroactively pay me for what I would have been owed. You just lose that check indefinitely. It's a benefit cut. And it also makes government less efficient. It makes it more difficult. There is more friction between the acquisition of earned benefits on the part of beneficiaries, and there's more friction there with them getting that.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
It's just insane. And there was another story, too. That wasn't the only one. There was one of the Doge bros who gave an interview to Fast Company. Fast Company is a business publication. This Doge bro was the co-founder of Gumroad, some sort of tech thing. I don't know what Gumroad does. But he's supposed to be like a real fancy-smancy tech guy. He knows his tech stuff. That's this guy. His name is Sahil Lavingia. And he was put at the VA, the Veterans Affairs Administration. And and this interview is really just kind of fascinating, the things that it reveals about these people. And I would encourage folks to go read it themselves if they would like. The title of the interview is "Thanks to Doge, Gumroad's founder has a second job with the VA." The author is Ernie Smith. So check that out. Google it. Fast Company, Ernie Smith. It's a good article. And what this guy admits to Fast Company is really just fascinating. So he says, now that he's there, speaking about Langvia or whatever his name is, the Doge guy at the VA. Now that he's there, he says he finds himself surrounded by people who, quote, love their jobs, who came to the government with a sense of mission driving their work. This is what the tech startup Doge guy is saying about employees at the VA. Quote, in a sense, that makes the Doge agenda a little bit more complicated because if half the government took a buyout offer, then we wouldn't have to do much more, he says, implying software can replace departing employees. We'd just basically use software to plug the holes, but that's not what's happening. He says, the government works. He says there's a culture shock because it's a lot of meetings, not a lot of decisions, but honestly, quote, but honestly, it's kind of fine because the government works. It's not as inefficient as I was expecting, to be honest. I was hoping for more easy wins. I mean, that's just an amazing admission. That really is just an amazing admission. Because that really is going counter to like the entire thing, the entire whole Doge project. because the whole Doge project is built on a lie, right? It's not true. And then we got one right now. We've got this guy in the chat, True American, really 40%. I bet it's even higher. Why would you think that? Why would you think more than 40% of calls into the Social Security Administration are fraudulent? Like, on what basis do you have that belief? And then he says, oh, please, it's money laundering. That's not even what I am telling you that the Doge freaks are saying. They created, it's not me, I didn't create this anti-fraud check, this anti-fraud measure. And so you can't say that, oh, well, look, Jacob created it and he's obviously got this bias against finding fraud. He wants all the fraud to exist because he's just a government guy, he loves government. This is the Doge people created an anti-fraud check, and it found 2 calls out of 110,000 had a high probability of being fraudulent. And this guy is not believing it. Like, it's crazy. I'm telling him that the Doge people are saying is wrong, and he's like, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Right? I mean, it's like crazy. Right, and you believe whatever you want with no evidence like yourself. Meanwhile, Doge is actually showing evidence and has access to view the files, and you're not believing what Doge is telling you. I don't know what, I don't know what to, that's crazy.
I mean, some people believe that, humans coexisted with dinosaurs. Some people believe the
That's
Earth
an
is...
easier thing to believe than this, because at least with the humans coexisting with dinosaurs, you can't, just go and look at it. Right? Or right now, you can just go and look at this and say, you can, suspend all sorts of disbelief to believe that humans and dinosaurs coexist and stuff like that. But, this is just right here in your face. The guy who is who would be telling you the thing that you want to hear is telling you that you're wrong. And yeah, I don't know. So there you go. 2 more Doge failures this week. They're going to keep racking up the failures, and people are going to keep believing that they're not failing. That's kind of the world that we live in right now. 844-899-TVLR, 844-899-8857 if you have any thoughts on that.
The good news is, I think the vast majority of people do not believe it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's what we have to remember. Yeah, there are some knuckleheads out there who are going to believe all sorts of foolish things, but I think most people can see through it. It's just a matter of organizing folks.
Absolutely. Yeah, and most people are opposed. Most people are not even opposed to the mission of Doge. They want government to be efficient, which who doesn't? I mean, there was this poll that was talking about, most people want the government to be more efficient. And it's like, well, I mean, what does that even mean?
Right. I mean, there's also polling that shows, over 70% of the American public opposes postal privatization.
Right.
But, in the eyes of some people, efficiency is privatization. So, it's a little more complicated than that, I think.
But when asked about Doge specifically, how is it executing its mission, people are overwhelmingly dissatisfied with the job that they are doing, Republicans and Democrats. And so, people that don't see that are kind of in the minority. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.